welcome to practice. We're going to begin laying down and take a blanket that you can make into a little roll, or just triple folding the blanket into a long, narrow shape for a little bolster under the shoulder blade. So when you put your arms out from your shoulder, the blanket's right up against the arms. And you just want to check in that your neck feels okay with that support. So sometimes it might feel like you need to put another blanket or a pillow under your head, or maybe your blanket is thicker and just is too big for your body. So you can make it a thinner blanket or put in a headset. The feeling you're after is the front and back of the neck being even in length. And as we get older, it's this part of the spine that really starts to, not collapse is an overdramatic word, but it really feels the effect of gravity. So tuning in to your own body, noticing if this feels quite unusual or it feels awkward to bring the bones of that part of your spine forward. When I do this kind of supported posture, it always strikes me that it feels good, but it's not what it feels like when I stand up. So discover this support for yourself. Let your body take the shape of this pose. You can keep your legs in neutral, that is feet hip width and parallel, or the soles of the feet together, knees out wide. I feel like I'm trying to add too many instructions into my body, so I'm going to put my legs in neutral and just feel the spine. Now is not the time for multitask. But we could continue to explore that upper back feeling by taking the arms overhead now. So you could have your elbows bent and soft, or you could straighten your arms and just explore what that means in the shape of the spine and the feeling in your shoulders. Feel that the breath is satisfying. It's a little bit longer and deeper than you might normally breathe. Letting the breath take more time. And we're going to bring the feeling of this support, however comforting or however strange, and keep it in our bodies for the next part of the practice. So bend in your arms and legs and roll over to your right side and come up to sitting so you can practice that shape in your spine. And just sit up onto that blanket, however your legs are comfortable. And see if you can feel the blanket still underneath your shoulder blades, embedding the bones of the spine forward. And let your head just feel nice and balanced. So you relax in the back of the neck and the occiput. How does that shape feel? Continue letting each breath take up time and space. Beautiful. And then forward virasana. So kneeling towards the back of your mat. Big toes touching. And hips reach back to where your knees allow. We've got the arms reaching forward here. Can you keep that shape in your upper back? And then downward facing dog pose. And we'll start off with bent leg, but try to find that shape again in your upper back. Fingers out wide, pressing each fingerprint. And opening the chest towards the front of the leg. So you can feel the bones of the spine between your shoulder blades. Pressing forward. Oh, like that. And we're going to press the heels down. And let the head just hang down. Feel that the weight in your hands is shared in each fingerprint, and press down a little bit more in the base of the index fingers. Nice. We're going to come into almost all fours, but with the knees not quite touching the floor. And press down the bone between the shoulder blades and look up. Nice work. And then back into a bent-legged downward facing dog pose. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then almost all fours, knees not quite touching the floor. Press the bones between the shoulder blades down and look up. Lift the front core of the body. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And this time we're going to try and press the heels as well. It should be warmed up a little bit in the shoulders now. The upper back. Beautiful. Knees almost to the floor. Lifting the front core. Embedding the bones between the shoulder blades down. Looking forward. Nice work. Let's take the knees to the floor. And resting into child's pose so that you find the space between the shoulder blades. And breathing particularly into that part of the body. Hands forward. And this time we're going to be on the elbows. So keep taking the hands forward so you can put your elbows down on the floor, forearms parallel. Stretch your fingers and thumbs. Bring the knees to about hip width. All right, we want the forearms to look fairly parallel. We'll tuck the toes under, and we're going to lift the knees just off the floor. And press the bones of the spine forward between the shoulder blades. Look forward. lifting the front core of the body. Nice work. And then we're going to swap by lifting the knees and pressing the heels back into a preparation for forearm balance. Letting the armpits lengthen and open, chest open, head just hang down. Good. Knees almost to the floor. Pressing the bones of the spine forward, looking forward. Press down the base of the index fingers. Nice work. Straighten the legs. Press the heels back. Let the head just hang down. And knees almost to the floor. Ooh, feeling that spine between the shoulder blades. Nice work. Knees to the floor. Taking child's pose again, resting your arms and hands. And finding the breath in the space between the shoulder blades. Good. Coming into an all fours position now. Take your right arm under your left arm. And we're going to slide the back of the right hand along the floor until you bring your right shoulder onto the floor. Oh, that's a nice twist in the upper back. The lower leg parallel. And turning your ribs. Nice. You can use your left hand, place it flat down, and even lift the left shoulder a little bit more, the ribs, turning your upper back. Keep your neck as relaxed. Nice work. Back into all fours. Good. And then we're going to take the left hand under the right arm. So we're sliding the back of the left hand along the floor until the left shoulder is reaching as close to the floor as it's going to go. Try to keep your lower legs parallel. And you can move your right hand so it's to the right of the mat. You can press down through the right palm as you turn your upper back. And keep your neck relaxed. Try to let the movement be really in that part of the spine that we're focusing on today, between the shoulder blades. Nice work. And then releasing, come into all fours. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog pose. Pressing the heels down. Taking the chest towards the front of the legs and the head just hanging down. Make the space between the collarbones wide and the shoulder blades wide, so it feels like there's room for the neck to lengthen. Nice. We're going to step the right foot forward between the hands, and if it feels like you're not going to be able to get that right up there, you can put your knees on the floor, take your hands off the floor, and step the right foot forward. So we're in a long lunge position. Now, the first thing we're going to do in the lunge is bend and straighten the front. Just starting to stretch there. Notice as you try to straighten your leg, how the spine starts to make that rainbow shape. The bones start to stick up towards the ceiling. So see if you can keep that lovely feeling we've been practicing of the bones forward, and then bend and straighten the leg. All right. So we're going to come into a bent position, and we're going to lift up into Virabhadrasana 1. We're going to press the back heel. We're going to bring the arms up by the ears and draw the shoulder blades down. Nice posture for bringing that upper back forward. Feeling the lift in the core of the body. Beautiful. we're going to bring the hands in front of the heart. Now, a little bit tricky. We're going to come into Virabhadrasana 3. And that is to balance on that front leg and lift the left leg up behind. But you might just step your back leg in a little and keep the tiptoes on the floor. So see how you go. Otherwise, try lifting up. Hands are in front of the heart. So we're bending forward at the hip crease. The left leg is up behind. Virabhadrasana 3. I've got my hands in front of my heart. Could have your hands by your ears. That's stronger. Now let's see if we can put that left foot back down where it was at the back of the mat. So we're still in the lunge position. Hands back, either side of the front foot. Step the right foot back, downward facing dog pose. Letting the head just hang down. Great, and then we're going to do the second side. So the left foot stepping all the way forward between the hands. If it just feels like, oh, that's going to get stuck, then take your knees to the floor. Lift your hands off the floor. Left foot forward, hands back to the floor. So we're in a nice long lunge position. And we're going to bend and straighten that front leg. See if in that bending and straightening, particularly the straightening, you can keep the bones of the spine pressing forward. Ha ha. Nice work. Now we're going to bend the front leg. We're going to press back strongly through the back leg, and we're going to lift the torso and the arms into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Bring the spine forward. Lift the core of the body and lower the hips. Looking up. Straighten the arms. Energetic in every finger. Bring the hands in front of the heart. Okay, so we're going to try and transition into that Warrior 3 posture where we balance on the front leg. The right leg stays behind but lifts up off the floor if possible, or maybe it just dances in a little bit. And we lean forward at the hip crease. Keeping the hips level to the floor. Ooh. So finding that hip stability. Good. Now we're going to take the right leg back onto the floor where it was. Nice work. Bring the hands back to the floor. And then step the left foot back, downward facing dog pose. And we're going to rest into child's pose. Let each breath take up time and space. Bring the arms forward Virasana. We're going to lift up so that our hips are over the knees, so you can walk your knees back, elbows under the shoulders. Then we're going to take the chest towards the front of the leg. Maybe your head can just rest forward onto the floor. Breathing deeply. And then Adho Mukha Svanasana. So bring your hands kind of under your shoulders, tucking your toes under, and downward facing dog pose. Pressing the heels. Actually, take a shorter distance between your hands and your feet so that your heels are closer to the floor. Ah, head just hanging down. Nice work. We're going to step the right foot forward, and this is going to be for Trikonasana, triangle pose. And again, if you feel like, that foot is just going to get stuck, a lovely little transition is to bring the knees to the floor, the hands off the floor, and then step the right foot forward. Okay, we lower the left heel down. So now we've got the right heel lining up with the left foot inner arch. And we're going to lift all the way up, feeling the front of the torso start to turn towards the long edge of your mat. Bring the hands at the hip. So feeling that the pelvis is not facing to the floor, but starting to open. The heart open. Left rib reaching back. Good. Then take your right hand down onto your leg. Right leg. Strong leg. And feel the intelligence coming from your feet. Grounded. Lengthening your spine, and left arm is going to reach up. Now we're going to take the back of the left hand and reach it back. Feel how that opens the rib cage, and try to bring the bones of the spine forward. Ooh. Way to supercharge your Uttanasana. Strong core. Beautiful. We're going to windmill the left arm back down to the mat. So we place the hands back at the front of the mat, and we'll step the right foot back, downward facing dog pose. Just walk your feet forward a little bit so you can get your heels closer to the floor. Really press down. Embedding the bones of the spine forward. Nice work. Now we're going to step the left foot forward. However that works for you. We'll place the right heel down. Strong legs, lifting the kneecaps, the feet finding the floor. And then lift yourself up. Keep lifting up because we really want to be able to bring the front of the pelvis towards the parallel to that long edge of the mat. So the pelvis open, heart open, beautiful. Left hand down onto your left leg. And we'll take the right arm up. So we're already working to roll back the right hip and ribs. Use the back of the right hand and the leverage of your arm to reach the arm back. And bring the bones of the spine forward. Whoa. And then reaching the left waist as long as you can into your Trikonasana. Finding each breath. Taking up time, space in your body. Beautiful. Bring your right arm, windmill it back to the short front end of your mat. Hands down there, and take your left leg back, downward facing dog pose. Pressing your heels down. Bones of the spine pressing forward. Beautiful. And then bring the knees to the floor. Walk your knees back a little, so you're going to keep your hips over your knees. We're going to do the elbows to the floor again. I've heard this called a puppy dog stretch, and it makes sense. And then take the chest towards the front of the leg. See if you can give in a little more to this shape, however awkward. Neck relaxed. Lovely. Now, We're going to be in all fours. Tuck your toes under. We're going to walk the hands back. And as you do that, you're going to bring the weight of your hips towards your heels for that big toe stretch. Okay, so if you're comfortable with that kind of foot stretch, you can kneel up. The weight is on your heels. But if you're finding it really strong, keep your hands on the floor. The other nice thing to do is my little toes are short and they don't really touch the floor. So I'm going to try and manipulate them to get a stretch. So, okay, so either with your hands on the floor or taking the weight over your hips and finding the balance of your spine. Nice. Now, we're all going to put the hands back onto the floor and then just lift your knees up. And we're going to roll back as far as your knees allow you to squat. The heels towards the floor and then back into your kneeling position. So practicing that foot movement between kneeling and squatting. If you find that you can hold a squat, try to press the heels down, bring your hands in front of your heart, lift the torso as you press the bones of the spine forward, lift the pelvic floor, internal muscular support. Nice work. Good. And maybe without your hands, you could coordinate your knees landing on the floor, but don't do it if they're going to thump down. Whoa. And maybe you can coordinate back into the squat without using your hands or use them if you need to. Lucky for me. Nice work. We're going to press into the heels and come up to stand. Facing the long edge of your mat. Feet under you. Tadasana. So there's been a lot going on in the spine. We're going to interlock the hands behind and forward bend. Look forward and try to press the bones between the shoulder blades forward. We're going to try and reach the knuckles back. Keep walking, even one arm then the other. Sometimes there's a lot of muscle in the other upper arms. There's a lot of flesh around the ribs. So we have to try and make space to really reach the knuckles back. Okay, and then taking the arms up away from your back and reaching the knuckles back and letting your head just hang down. Legs nice and straight if you can. And if not, you're straightening your legs and you're lifting your kneecaps and your sit bones. Beautiful. And then release that side of your grip. Change the interlock, so other index finger on top, and we'll try to wiggle your upper arms back again so your knuckles can reach back. You might be resting your hands here on your pelvis. And we're going to lift up again. Arms lifting away from your back and reaching the knuckles and letting the head just... Yeah. Feeling the breath. And then releasing, and let your arms just flop down towards the floor, just hang down. Your head just hang down. Beautiful. Let's come up to standing. Take the arms up by your ears. Urdhva Sthana. Feeling the front of your body lift. The shoulder blades reach down. Lower back is long. Body energized. And then release. We're going to take a seat. You might want to practice with your foot flexibility that we worked on. I like to get down into the squat where my heels aren't quite on the floor and wiggle from side to side. Try to get my feet on the same page so that I can sit down without thumping down, or use your wisdom so you can sit safe. All right. We're going to sit onto a blanket. I like to fold it more into a pillow shape under my sit bone. Higher that support is, so if it was 2 blankets, for instance, the easier to get your forward movement in the pelvis. So we're going to swing both feet to the right side of you for Bharadvajasana. And the classic foot position is to put your right foot under your left foot, so the top of your left foot sits in the sole of your right foot. If that does not work for your knees, it puts quite a twist in the knee. If that does not work, just however you can manage your feet to the right side of you. All right, and then we're going to use the right hand. Oh, sorry, one more thing to make this posture a little easier is if your equipment slides out and it's really just under your left hip bone, or even double over that blanket, you'll find that both sides of the spine feel a little more even, both sides of the way. A little easier on the back. Good. We'll take the right hand to the outside of the left knee and the left arm behind. Turning your wrist. Drawing the shoulder blades down. Let the breath take up time and space in your body. Let your body respond to the movement of the breath, finding all that room to move as the diaphragm moves. And then we'll release that side and swap to the second side. So flipping your feet around to the left, swap your equipment, the blanket, so it's more under your right hip bone. So classically, top of the right foot in the sole of the left foot. But really, you're listening to your knees. In this case, it's generally the part of the body that is the most resistant. If you're vulnerable there or have an injury, put your feet where it works for your knees. Don't hurt your knees in the yoga pose. Very simple. All right, we're going to turn to the right side. Left hand on the outside of the right leg. And let's give the breath time, lengthen the breath and space. Let it be deep. And observe how the ribs and the diaphragm and the belly move. And find that you can work into this posture around that change of the body with the breath. Mm. Tuning into your potential. And then releasing. How great it is to have a body. We're going to lay down and blanket, kind of that pillow shape, under the hip. Mhm. Now we're going to do bamboo pose, and if it feels like your legs are not balancing with ease, if that's just too much work for the core, and it's pulling on your back, then your blanket may be higher to double it over again, or slightly different position, up the bottom of the pelvis. If it really isn't working, put your feet on the floor. And just let your core relax. Otherwise, we're legs nicely balanced. And we're going to do cactus arm. And find our imaginary sandbag. Make them really nice. Make them out of silk. Nice and heavy. And particularly if one arm is more resistant to the other, make that one a little bit heavier. I love imaginary props. They pack away so easily. So cactus arms, I didn't really explain that. That elbows straight out from the shoulders and forearms at 90 degrees to the upper arm, back of the hand facing the floor. And what is resistant in your body? Where are you holding tension? What could be let go of? Hmm. When we scan the body in that way, looking for tension, discovering if it's useful or no longer needed, can be really surprising. Scanning and rescanning, letting the breath be long and deep. Hmm. You could choose to stay here in this supported bamboo pose. You might like to do a little halasana pose where the feet go overhead towards the floor. Now, that can be very strong on the neck, so just take it in increments and you only go as far as the stretch feels good for you. If you want to try halasana, bring your arms in so they can help you. I'm going to bend my legs so my feet are on the floor, and then I've got a little way to push off for a moment. And lifting the pelvis and putting the hands in under the pelvis. And then you can just let your your legs hang down towards the floor where it feels like a nice stretch for your back. Mm. Make sure your neck is long. You're not holding tension there. Good, and then lowering your back to the floor. Try to lower the pelvis without thumping down. So use the core of your body. Tricky to do. Bring the feet onto the floor. Take your blanket out, everybody. And then arms out from the shoulders. Inside edges of the feet together, knees together. Hips lift and go right and knees go left. And we're just going to stretch ourselves nice and long by stretching the right knee as far as you can to the left. Looking over your right arm. Using your core awareness to lift your leg. Lift your hips. Hips go left. Knees go right. Lengthen the left side of the body by reaching the left leg, and left shoulder blade stays on the floor and you look left. Oh, yeah. And then coming back to center. Hug your knees in and rock a little bit from side to side. If anyone would like to stay for the relaxation, put your legs out along the floor. If you need to finish your practice here, namaste with you. Hey, Shavasana people. The opportunity to integrate practice into the nervous system, for the brain to be gathering information from the body. The new information of practice. Maybe places you traveled in your body here to unexplored. Letting your spine take its shape, supported by the floor. If there's any tightness in your lower back, you could put your blanket under your thigh. Feeling your legs just rolling out, your feet rolling out, upper arms turning out so your palms are open, backs of the hands supported. Feeling centered on the back of your head. Bringing your attention to your toes and noticing what you feel there. Now bringing that focus to the soles of your feet and the tops of your feet and your ankles. Now to your lower leg, knees, thighs, hips, belly, buttock, lower back. middle back, and the back of the ribs, between your shoulder blades, and between them and your back rib. Back of the shoulders. Feel the sides of your ribs in front of the rib cage moving with the breath. Between the collarbone, along them to your shoulders. Even though we're laying still, there's so much movement in the body with each breath. You focus at the armpits and let them hollow. Upper arm, elbow and forearm. Wrist and palm and thumb. Fingers. The back of your neck and your throat. The base of your skull. Scalp. Forehead. Now around your eyebrows and your eyes. Your nose. Around your mouth. Your lips. Tongue. And your jaw. Noticing now your ears. And the sound of your own breathing. Feeling of being free. Add some extra depth and length to the breath. Preparing your body to start moving actively again. Wiggling your hands and feet, bending your arms and your legs. And rolling over to your right side. When you're ready, come up and have a seat. Bringing your hands in front of your heart and feeling the balance of your spine. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.